All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian McLogan, and this is week number 112, Open Live Q&A. And the purpose of this live stream is to obviously go ahead and answer your questions, which again, if you do have math questions that you'd like me to answer, I have a light load for this week, which is pretty cool because I always like taking questions, that a lot of times I always feel bad when students are submitting so many questions, I'm just not able to get to them. So if you have any questions, feel free to go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And actually, I had that up. There we go. And you guys can just go ahead and submit your questions and I'll try to get to as many as I can. Like I said, all the questions that I already have written down are pre-submitted. So we'll just kind of see how we can from there. And then, any kind of open time, if I have any questions, if I see anything in the chat, I'll be happy to get you guys in from on there. And then if I don't get your, questions in that amount of time, then please go ahead and also feel free to check out the Discord server. And that's also a great way for you to, ask questions throughout the week because I only do this each and every Sunday night at 9 p.m. However, the main thing I want to talk with you guys about this week is the 30-day challenge. Now, this is something I did last year and just to kind of like test it out, see how it was going to work out, and I loved it. And I thought a lot of the students that went through it, everybody that I kind of got feedback from, they really enjoyed it. And I think it's really important that we kind of have something where before you guys kind of get into your exam season, that's something a little bit, lighthearted, but also kind of shows you kind of what I tell you guys to keep on doing each and every time when people are like, how do I get better at math? How do I, study for my test? How do I improve my grades? How do I do, how do I pass AP calculus? How do I do my SAT, my ACT? And one of the more boring, like not very exciting piece of advice is to practice and to do math. So one of the things I kind of created to help students with that, because I think we can all agree it's a lot easier to practice math maybe for a day or 2 days or a week, and then you just kind of give up, you lose interest, and you kind of go on. So the only way that I figured I could kind of overcome that for students or help students overcome that was to send them a math problem for 30 days straight. So if you sign up for this free math challenge, again, it's just a absolutely free math challenge, then what I'll do is I will send you a math problem each and every day, depending on the class, which is basically Algebra 1 through Calculus. And it is broken up per course. So therefore, I'm not sending you Algebra 1 problems if you're in calculus or in geometry or whatever may be the case. But if you do want to sign up for different classes, like you want to review in geometry, or if you're taking Algebra 2 and you're like, crap, I kind of need a review in Algebra 1, or if you're taking pre-calculus and you're like, you know what, Algebra 2 is probably a good course for me to review, then you can definitely do more. I don't want to overwhelm you because this isn't a grade. I'm not going to come behind and make sure you're doing your work. But the cool thing is after each day, you'll get a video. And then the next day, I will send you a video recording, which is going to be like a kind of like a short. So me going through the problem rather quickly, not taking a lot of time, of me recording that video. And so therefore, it's not going to be an extra long explanation, but it's just something to help you guys out with your understanding. And so if you're interested in joining the math challenge, it is for every single day in the month of March. So therefore, you can sign up today, you can sign up tomorrow. I'll talk about it again next week. But March 1st is when the first problem gets sent out, and we'll go all the way through Monday. So I already have all the emails already programmed, got the videos already done. So it is ready for you guys to go ahead and join. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out brianmclogan.com/challenge. And baby problem, the thing is, why do we need this for life? Well, it's a great question. Why do you need a lot of things, for life? And a lot of things that we are studying, a lot of things that we learn is a lot of their uses are, are not always going to be apparent initially, right? And I think it's very important that, there's the reason why we want students to be, well-rounded and not just to be focused on learning one skill. Now, to your point, there's a lot of things that we still teach in mathematics that I think are outdated, that are not in the best interest of the student or in our society. So there is some adjustments, I think, on both sides. But, I think learning math is still very, very important. I think having an educated society is going to be very helpful and very important. And having a knowledge of mathematics is going to be a part of that. Hey, Raf, how are you? Good. I did see your question. We'll go ahead and get to that. How is a square a rhombus, but a rhombus is not a square? Well, because a rhombus just has 4 equal sides, right? And so those 4 equal sides do not need to produce 90-degree angles. So a square has four right angles that, I'm sorry, four equal sides that, and also four right angles. So if a rhombus, let's say two of the angles are 91 degrees, and then the other two angles would be 89 degrees. So they could still have equal sides, but just not all four right angles. Ahmed said, I am in a very critical moment in my life where I'm trying to decide whether or not to go into the medical field, like apply to college as a pre-med. Well, I mean, it's always tough. And I know when you guys have big, kind of decisions and stuff like that, I think one of the best things I could always say is, and it's really tough. Two things. One, just kind of go with your gut. And, you gotta weigh the options. Sometimes I take a sheet of paper, write down the pros and the cons on both sides, and then really just kind of feel like what's your best gut reaction that you just feel is like the natural thing, the right thing for you. And a lot of times it's hard, like me stepping away from the classroom was a gut decision. I didn't want to step away from the classroom, but I knew it was the right decision. I knew it was right for me. And the second thing is don't look back. Take no regrets, move forward. You made a decision and then move on. Don't try to second guess your decision or anything else. Like, you made that decision for in the best interest at that time, and then you move forward. And if you need to make adjustments or anything else, you'll make adjustments, right? You're going to adapt. But I think there's a really important thing that, you got to put faith in your decision making. And when you make that decision, you say, all right, we're moving forward. And, if there's issues that are going to come up, which there's always going to be issues that come up, don't second guess the decision back then. You made the best decision at that time. And if you need to adjust, then you're going to adjust. I'm a pure math student at Waterloo, Canada. I'm happy to help. Well, awesome. Glad to have you on. And also, Abdul, you can also join to the Discord server and help out if you feel like answering math questions. Those are always helpful. Always getting math questions in there. There's not a lot of pure math in there, but there is, one of those things that kind of open up as there's like seeing how things expand, and for whatever courses people are looking into. So, if you are interested in just like helpful answering questions, or just helping people with their math and seeing things from that, especially from the pure math perspective, feel free to check out the Discord server if you care. Oh, exactly. That was I meant. What was your response? Should I go into engineering if I don't enjoy doing math? I know it's way easier after university, but I'm worried I won't like it. Yeah. I mean, I think you would. I think obviously engineering, you have to know a lot of math to get into, but I mean, when you're doing, I've never been an engineer, so I never even took any engineering classes, but I think you'd be hard pressed. You're not like you're a mathematician where you're doing heavy mathematics every day. I think you need to have a good knowledge and a foundation of math and obviously in engineering and physics, but I don't think you're doing heavy calculations every day. So I think you might want to maybe talk to some people that are engineers that you want to be and just kind of see how that is a day to day, right? I think that's an important concept too that a lot of people forget about when they are deciding what they want to be, and they talk about students like, oh, I want to go to college. I want to be this. I want to be that. Right. And a lot of people, look at it as one, they're kind of like what they like to do, right? If you like math, if you like writing, if you like acting or whatever may be the case. And then also they look at income, like how much money does it make, right? Or what my parents did or whatever else. But I also think what's really important is, does it mesh with your lifestyle and how you want to kind of live? And that was one of the big things that I really enjoyed about, teaching was, the flexibility, and inflexibility that I had. But obviously moving away from Michigan, where I was born and raised, having longer times over winter break and over, summer, I was able to travel, quite a bit to go back and see family. That was very helpful. It was also very difficult a lot of times because, when you're a teacher, you have all those breaks. So you really have to be on for the rest of the time. Right. And of course, there's things that came up that I had to take days off, but I was, I basically did not, I basically showed up for, a lot of times in the classroom, did not take a lot of days off. And, and that was kind of sometimes tough as well. But you want to find something, a job being somebody that would like travel a lot, that's never resonated with me. And it resonates for a lot of people, right? They love the travel and stuff like that. Doing something where I had like a 9 to 5 and, it's just conformed to like a cubicle or a desk, like that would just drive me insane as well. Like I like that classroom experience. I like the interaction with the kids. Sometimes it'd be definitely draining and helpful, but it was, I think one thing you got to match kind of your personality and what you're looking for as well. I think it's very difficult to remember every form of math. I think you just got to practice what you're doing and practice those problems a lot. And then, write them down on a cheat sheet if you want to and kind of go from there, but it's, a lot of it comes to practice. When people are like, oh, how did you remember that? I'm like, it's because I probably did it multiple times, but there's a lot of formulas too that I, after a year or a week, I'll forget them too. I like pineapple pizza. Depends on how it's always been. But yeah, I like trying different things. I am a very big traditionalist on a lot of things, but a lot of times like a pizza, I'm always happy to like try different things. I'm not stuck in like, I do like a very basic like margarita pizza, but yeah, you can, throw anything on a piece of bread and call it pizza and I'll try it. I do like a lot of variations from there. And I've only seen parts of Encanto. If I don't know if you have, nope, I've never taught AP stats. Oh, I don't know then. I don't remember. I don't think we have a February vacation. What's the 30-day challenge? Well, the 30-day challenge is if you're showing up late and then all of you that have joined on. So the 30-day challenge is basically what I'm going to, if you go to brianmclogan.com, there's like /challenge. And what you do is basically it is a way for you to improve your math for the next 30 days. And for the next 30 days, that's going to be from March 1st to March 31st. And basically what I'm going to do, depending on what class you're in, I have kind of compiled 30 math problems that, are not designed to challenge the heck out of you. They're not designed to be the easiest problems in the world. They're just 30 random problems that I can take from a course and just provide you in a multiple choice format for you to do the problems. And what you're going to be able to do is take those problems and I will send them to you each and every day. So every day at the same time, you're going to get an email from me on to do a problem. And basically it's kind of like, hey, let me schedule an interruption, make sure I can do this problem. And then what I'll do the next following day is I will provide you a video of me going through, showing you the answer of the video. So some of the problems you might be like, oh, I know how to do that. Or if you want to check them yourself, like use an online calculator, whatever else, that's fine. If you want to watch my video that I have, that's fine as well. Whatever may be the case. Some problems you might be confused. Maybe you never taught them in your course. That's fine. And then some problems might be really easy. You might be able to do them in your head, right? It's, I'm just designing. The idea of coming up with 30-day challenge was everything that a lot of the advice that I give to students on these live streams to get better at math is to practice math, to do math. And, a lot of your teachers will give you a lot of math problems, right? And they'll attach your grade to them. And that's nice, right? And you might do those math problems just for that grade, right? And you might not put the thought process in there to, always to be practicing there. You might just be thinking about the grade. The one thing I want you to be able to do if you really want to improve upon your math skills is to be consistent with your math and to not just focus, as we have exam season that's coming up. Like last year, a lot of students like exams were canceled and, it was not like people were just kind of getting by. Getting by because they didn't have to worry about, the exam. And some people having now exams are coming back and it's like freaking out. It's like, crap, I didn't learn anything last year or the year before or whatever may be the case. So, I don't want students to be cramming the night before and then expecting amazing results, right? It's very difficult, especially when you're taking multiple courses. So what the challenge is there to provide is like, hey, let me give you 30 days of just doing one math problem. I would like for you to do more than one math problem every single day as you're preparing for your exams, but let's just make this simple. Let's just do one math problem each and every day for 30 days. And I think if you can kind of get in that rhythm and get in that routine, then you can do that for March. And then maybe you can do that for April, and maybe you can do that for May, right? And depending on when you're having your exams or when it may be the case, you can kind of maybe up the ante and maybe do more problems and do more practice for you to help prepare you for those exams. So that's exactly what the 30-day challenge is all about. Um, no, I do not work at an actual school anymore. Well, I guess you can say this school. um, well, that's good. That's good to hear, Addie. I'm so happy for that. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that we use either with, um, it's a good question. I haven't really actually thought of, a lot about it, but obviously we do like a lot of like statistics, right? Is much more, and data analysis is much more of a bigger portion of our lives than with computer programming and everything else like that. It's a huge more position than let's say finding the vertex of a parabola, right? Now again, there's nothing wrong finding the vertex of a parabola. I think also a lot of times we focus so much time on like graphing, and yes, I want students to know how to graph. I think you should understand that relationship of two variables, right? Or even if you're doing three variables, like you need to have that foundation. But, I remember when I used to teach, when I first started teaching sine and cosine, and I teach them how to graph. And students, like, I mean, I would spend so much time helping students teach how to show them how to graph, plotting the points. And, it's just this archaic, it's like showing them, all these things. And it's like, what for? Like after the last couple of years, I'm like, I don't need to teach this way. Like, I just want students to understand the parts of the graph, that they're going to need to know, and they need to know what the shape of the graph is and like the general transformations and what the graph looks like. And again, it was less stress. The students got to it. Like if they needed to ever look at what exactly the graph looked like, we use these, right? Or we use like a computer. Like I don't want students to be exact, knowing exactly what they need to do using paper and pencil. Like I want to be a little bit more vague with paper and pencil in terms of like the graphs and stuff like that. And the, so yeah, that's just one example I can go through. What's your opinion on the formula sheets in math and science? I mean, I gave formula sheets for the last maybe 3-4 years. I always gave them to my students. And to be honest with you, I didn't see much of a difference in the grades. I think for students that when they didn't have formula sheets, they probably either cheated or they crammed like the night before. And once I gave them to them, students, the only thing positive was students say they didn't have to feel like they did that. It was less stress. But again, they still got problems wrong. It wasn't like it was a giveaway. Everybody, it's not like my grades went from D's to A's. So from then on, I was like, you know what, I'm all on for this. Because again, you think about real life, people are always going to have access to that information. I mean, we have access to that information, right here. Obviously, there's things we want people to know, like for instance, like the unit circle. I don't want you to have to look up the unit circle. I need you to know that. But again, my thinking is if you're going to be doing something so often, it's going to be ingrained in your memory. So I would just focus on whatever I needed my students to know. I would just make sure I gave them ample enough practice with that. So therefore it would be kind of memorized or ingrained in their brain. No, I have not, but that's actually a good idea. Because the one thing I want to do is go back and do some math, which I've been kind of late with that. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I know the pay will not make me happy. I might changing my major to engineering instead. No, I mean, the cool thing about being a teacher or being an engineer, like you can always, I would say it's a lot easier to probably go into teaching later than it'd be going to engineering later. So I think for that fact, if like, again, if the lifestyle pay like doesn't feel like it's going to be a right match for you. And again, like I supplemented my teaching a lot with doing real estate, right? And which I still do today, and I did other things. I also did handyman work, for other people that I did. So, I mean, and then obviously I started focusing on YouTube, right? Which was my other, kind of thing. So you can do a lot with teaching as far as supplemental stuff. And you could even do, some, kind of side hustles as has now come popular. But yeah, if that's not something you're like interested in, you much rather think like an engineering job, then yeah, go for it. I mean, you can always, the cool thing is even if you get a degree, you can always adjust, later in life. Um, yes, I am a Detroit sports fan, so definitely go Lions. Um, if you didn't choose to follow a math career, that's a good question. I think I've always wanted to kind of be like an architect, or I was also in construction. I was always, I made more money in construction before I even went back to become a teacher. So, maybe like construction, something around construction or architecture or something like that. That's something that I've always, liked. I don't know. Maybe abstract algebra. As far as I remember, yeah, but I'm not sure. Practice. Join the 30-day challenge. It's free and you can practice 30 problems in 30 days. There's my best advice. I don't mean to laugh because I know you said you're struggling, but it is, I think you just got to go back through a lot of stuff you probably don't remember from algebra 2. So, go back and remember some of the algebra 2 stuff. That will help, I think solidify, hopefully get you caught up from on there. What do you tell yourself as you're struggling with the math problem? How do you get out of the self-hate and not being able to? Well, I mean, just remember everybody struggles with math. Everybody. You're like, wait a minute, there's those really smart people that always get it. Yeah, but there's always a problem that they struggle with, right? Everybody's at, I think Addie, like I said, like you cannot compare your weakness to other strengths. Like, or I'm not sure. Oh, I was thinking of something else. Like you can't compare to people that are different levels, right? Everybody has had to learn. Everybody has to go through the same math problems, like an understanding. And of course, everybody's going to get stuck on something, and they might get stuck on something really more advanced than you might ever want to get to. But everybody gets stuck on something in math, right? Nobody has the keys to everything in the universe and understanding of mathematics. So it's okay. It's natural. And the cool thing about mathematics and the cool thing about learning is everybody, there is no timeline that you have to know something at a given time. So give yourself time, give yourself a little bit of breathing room. And it's like, it's okay. Do the best you can do, move on, keep on working harder. That's the best advice I can give you. Um, No, I don't know why my ears are red. They actually are really red. I was doing some work outside today. So, then I took a walk and it was really, really nice weather down here. So it was like, I think high 60s, but the sun was out. So I had a hat on. So to cover my bald head, but my ears, I did not. So I think they just got extra sun, but I'm also like my eyes, I don't know if the pollen or whatever else, but I feel like also very tired. I am not a Hot Pockets fan, unfortunately. um, well, thank you so much, Christy. Why is pre-car than college algebra and trig? Yeah, it's that it goes deep, and that's I think why. I think in a lot of courses you have a lot of the same content, right, with a general trig or college algebra, but pre-calculus goes in deeper, and that's where a lot of students struggle. But I will tell you, like if you're taking calculus or any other upper level math classes or just upper courses, you'll realize like the struggle that you're getting through with pre-calculus is going to benefit you later on. So I know it's might not seem the most enjoyable at the moment, but keep on working, keep on focusing, and put in the work. It's gonna help you. Yes, Owen, that's a stupid question. No, I'm just joking. I mean, well, I mean, it's the point of like, if you don't know, like, of course, that's not stupid. If you don't know, ask the question, right? How can that be stupid? If you don't know something, then why would it be a stupid question, right? You need to know this. So no, I don't think there's as far as like an understanding of that being a stupid question. No, like if you need to, like, I think that's one of the hardest thing that I have for students is like, they don't know and they don't want to ask. It's like, if you don't understand something, you got to figure out why you don't understand it. So I understand you don't want to say it maybe in front of the class because you don't want to look stupid, but you need to either like look online, you need to go to office hours, stay after school, whatever may be the case. Ask your friend, ask your brother, your sister, ask your parents, whatever. Like you need to connect those, because the worst thing you're going to do is like say, it doesn't really matter. And then what's going to happen is the next day in class, some other stuff is going to come up and you're like, crap, now I'm even more confused. Right. So I think it's really important to make sure you're always asking those questions. I mean, every pre-calculus course is different, but you can also just look in a book online and, kind of go through it. It's very similar with trig and algebra 2, college algebra, whatever the case. 30-day challenge is basically I'll give you 30 problems in 30 days and send you the email. So just go to brianmclogan.com/challenge and I'll kind of explain everything for you. Do I only answer one question per person? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Wave graphing, but I still have no idea why. Yeah, I mean, we can, definitely deal with the cyclical functions, right? You have the sine and the cosine, like we have the wave function, like that's definitely applicable to being able to model those. And again, if you think about like any trigonometric function or any function, like it's, if you want to think about like a real world application, like it's think of like modeling, like it's a way for us to understand and model different situations, right? So when you think about like a sound wave, right? When you think about waves in the ocean, like anything that's going to be traveling as a wave, we can use those trigonometric functions to represent those waves, right? And again, a lot of the math that we're doing is not always going to be easily applicable to all that. But then you also look at the, then you're kind of learning the basics of trig, which can be applied for different functions or different applications or different processes that can be applied in different scenarios, right? So then you think, all right, so now I understand trigonometric functions. Well, guess what? Now we can go ahead and apply those to calculus applications, whereas calculus applications is going to be, we can use them in even different modes and using those trigonometric functions in that to better understand even more complex situations. Thanks, Bubba. Where did he put them? I mean, I'm not, it all depends on what the course is and what you're trying to achieve, right? The one thing that I mean, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, I think we spend a lot of time focusing on precision with graphing, where, I mean, it's, it's like, I don't think we need a lot of, and again, the problem with that too, is when you focus with precision on graphing, you got to have problems that are at a certain like number set, right? Because you got to be able to plot the points. So then you got to make sure certain points are going to be at integers, and it's like, and I think it slows down a lot of instruction and it slows down a lot of the types of problems that we can give to students if they have to be something that can be easily graphed for them to be able to do. But if we can just focus on general characteristics and shapes of the graphs and knowing those, and I think it's a little bit easier to move on and also to go deeper into the subject, because I think that's one of our problems too with mathematics, what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach so much stuff. It's like, here's everything, but we don't really get as deep into stuff. And you know this because as a teacher, we'll get to a student, they're like, they might have learned something 2 or 3 times, like in, algebra 1 and algebra 2, and then they come to pre-calculus and they still don't know it, right? And it's like they did it. They might have got A's on a quiz or A's on a test, but it's like they just learned it for that certain section or for that certain test. Like they just didn't have a understanding of what exactly they're doing or why it mattered or how to do it. And then we switch up the scenario, switch up the circumstance, and they're completely lost, right? So I think we need to do less topics, go deeper into them, and really make sure students have a good understanding of what they are doing and why they're doing it. Because I think just throwing math at students and being like, you need to learn this, and then having no application to it or no real kind of like connection with other things they've learned is, you're right. It just kind of feels like, why am I learning this stuff? And then it turns into this like frustration, and then the frustration turns into stress, and then the stress turns into like being, I want to get back at you. Like, why are you making me do all this stuff? Right. So anyways, we could do like 5 other live streams on this. Well, yeah, there's a lot. Oh, well, something else. Kind of struggle with everything in pre-calculus. Yeah, I mean, you got to find, you got to find somewhere to get help and to practice, right? And now we're in the kind of the second half, so I would recommend even if you can do like 30 minutes, go back to chapter 1, go back to chapter 2, start reviewing some of that stuff. start going through some of the problems. If you, whatever stuff you didn't understand, like go to the tutor lab, go get a tutor, get with friends, like making sure that you're starting to fill in those gaps, because you've gotten to a certain point with sign of what we say, like Swiss cheese understanding. You understand some concepts, but then there's other things like you missed or you didn't understand. You got to make sure you're filling in those holes to at least the best of your ability, because now we're in the final stretch, right? And we want to make sure that you can do that best you can. Well, you're very welcome, Ben. So I answered your question before, but I'll answer it again. The 30-day challenge is basically, you can just go to brianmclogan.com/30 challenge, and I kind of explain it there. But also you can, it's a free challenge where I basically send you a math problem each and every day. And then the following day, I give you a answer to the math problem that I just sent you, and I send you a new one. And it's basically a way to kind of make you consistent and to help you understand your math. No, 30 days. I mean, it's not really designed to be something to help you understand math. It's designed to help you be consistent with your learning of math. So I could easily send you 10 problems to do every single day, or 30 problems to do every single day. But that's not my goal. My goal is to send you one problem to complete for 30 days. And you'll find doing something for 30 days straight, it's difficult, and it can be very hard sometimes because life gets in the way. So it's not about trying to help you learn a subject in 30 days or to, challenge you in 30 days. The challenge is doing the math problem every single day for 30 days. Probably not. I never took econ besides like in high school. So, probably have to go back to some courses for them there. All right, trying to get caught up because I'm behind, way behind. I mean, the best thing is just, we kind of talked about this before, like when you're graphing the sine cosine. Again, guys, I'm going to get into the math questions here in just about another 5 more minutes. And then also, just a reminder, if you are interested in the math challenge, go to check out the link below. If you do have any math questions, again, I totally forgot to let you guys know. But if you do have any math questions, guys, feel free just to go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and that's where I'll be taking any math questions for you. You can go and post a picture. You can just go and type it in, whatever may be the case. But that's usually the best way to get your questions, rather than that's the best way to place the questions rather than putting them in the chat, because as you guys can see, I don't get time to read everybody's questions. And then again, if I don't get to your question tonight, then again, feel free. You can go ahead and join the Discord server, which also with the 30-day math challenge is there is actually a separate channel that we'll have for that as well. So I got to stand up because I'm tired and sore from today. All right. Oh, Discord. There we go. All right. So I've been struggling with graphing cosine sine functions. Try watching YouTube videos. So I think the main thing is, like, again, for sine, like you need to know what the parent graph is and you need to know the transformations. And I think besides that, make sure you can identify the period, the phase shift, the vertical transformations, the reflections. And that's what I wanted my students to know. And again, if you have a specific question, though, feel free to submit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I went to Western Michigan University, and I had a really good experience. I found some really good friends that made the whole experience better, and yeah, I think all my education and teaching, was really beneficial. Thank you. Yeah, I want to go back through a lot of my older content and update that. So that's one of the things that I am working on doing. You have to post that brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I will try to do my best. All right, so see how close I can get. Sure. Of course, you can do anything in 30 days. Well, maybe not anything, but yeah, it depends on how much work you want to do. You can definitely do it. Okay. Oh, well, thank you so much, Matt. I greatly appreciate that. Calc test on Drew, kick my fan. Any advice? Well, there's I mean, the same thing, guys. The reason why I'm doing the 30 days is like, I think when you're doing derivatives, like doing integrals and anything else, like put in the work. I mean, it's like, and the tough thing with calculus too is like, you might do like one or two derivatives, and then all we got to do is like change up the order and switch things up around, and then it can be confusing again, or it can be a completely different way to find the derivative, right? So you got to practice those. You got to look in all those. Don't just be complacent of like, oh, I know these, the chain rule and the product rule, and I can do U substitution. Like, look, practice those different variations of those problems. Look at the book. Look at all the different ways to do it, and you'll get better at it, and you'll get better at looking at the tricks and the easier ways to go ahead and simplify and solve things. Well, hello, Mo. Good to have you back on. And thank you again for joining in on the Sunday night. Anybody saw mathematics? What's the special way as a Rise Junior? I mean, same thing. I would just practice it with the problems, guys. All right. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions with you. Oh, and Mo, I had the Discord server right on there for you. Perfect. Sharish, you can go ahead. If you do have questions, then feel free to go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I will try to do my best, guys. We'll see how many are in there. But again, last thing for any of you guys that did join on that are like, hey, what is this guy talking about, this 30-day challenge? Again, guys, just remember the 30-day math challenge is the 30-day math challenge is basically where I am going to send you a math problem for 30 days and see if you can go and complete it. That's the challenge. It's basically, can you do one math problem for 30 days? Now, not just any math problem. I mean, I don't have every single math course available. I only created them for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Pre-Calculus, and Calculus. So if you're taking any of those courses, or if you kind of want to double it up and saying, hey, I probably need to review one of these courses, or maybe, hey, I'll just go ahead and do everything, then feel free if you want to do 5 math problems. But I don't want to, don't want it to distract you away from your classes. And I know there are, spring break is coming around, and I know that there's time for other tests and everything that I want you to focus on. So the one problem is just to try to keep you being consistent, because as you guys are preparing for your exams, the last thing I want you to be doing is saying like, oh crap, I have an exam next week, let me start studying. It's like, no, you need to start studying for your exams now. Start preparing for what you need to know and start breaking down everything in preparation for those exams. And this 30-day challenge is my way to kind of help you get started with that. So that's why I created this 30-day challenge. I did it last year. I really enjoyed it. And everybody that I, asked to really kind of help, it was just a good, easy, relaxed review. And again, guys, it's absolutely free. So if you want to join it and then you're like, this sucks, I don't like it, well, then you can unsubscribe or just not do the math problems. It's only 30 days. So I'll email you for, every single day at the same time for 30 days. And that's it. And it's just a nice, easy way for you guys to get into that. Did you? Oh. Yes, my weekend's going good. I guess everybody's making fun of my red ears because I guess I was outside doing some yard work today. All right, let's go ahead and see. Did anybody get into? Oh, and also, guys, don't forget, I'm also going to do a giveaway for the free tutoring. Remember last week's live stream? Then I'll do a last week's live stream. You just got to type in math help. So on last week's live stream, which, you know what, for those of you that are on, I never do this. And there's only like 4 people that actually do it. So that's why I kind of like doing it. But I might maybe help you guys out. But if you guys go to last week's live stream, I guess I'll just do it this time because I remembered. If you go into last week's live stream and what the heck? Oh, okay, there it is. if you guys go to last week's live stream and then type in math help, then at 10 o'clock, which I got to get some math problems on, at 10 o'clock, then I will do I'll do a giveaway for free tutoring with myself. So let me go see if there's any more questions that came in before I get into my math. All right, a couple more. We'll go and review those first. All right, so let's go ahead and switch this over. And let's take a look at some of the questions that you guys have. I'm actually going to switch this back over. Oh, it is subscribers only. Okay, cool. All right. So factor completely. So typically on factoring completely is just going to be able to make sure we can factor it over our rational numbers, real rational numbers any further. So I can rewrite this. Let me just go. That is a 4x cubed minus a 28x squared. All right, so in this case, what I want to do is see what they have in common. So I can see that they both have a 4 and a x squared in common, right? And what I mean by a 4 and x squared in common is you can divide both of these by a 4 and an x squared. And if you were to do that, like if you were to divide both of them out, which is basically what we're doing for factoring, is then you'd have a 4x squared, and then this is just going to be a x, and then this would be what? Minus 7. Now again, what am I doing here? Why am I dividing? Well, again, like remember like for instance, if I said factor 12, right? Well, if you divided 12 by 3, you're going to get 4, right? So a factored form of 12 would be 3 times 4. Right? So to get this factored form, what I did is I found a factor of 12 and I divided it out. So that's exactly what you're doing here. If I have 4x cubed minus 28x squared, I'm finding a factor of both of these, right? Which is 4x squared. So I divide both of them by 4x squared. And then what do I need to multiply 4x squared by to get a 4x cubed minus 28x squared? Well, that's going to be x minus 7. And that cannot be factored further. So therefore, that's going to be the factored form. Good job, Denver. So determine all the possible zeros of fx, then determine the rational zeros of fx. I got it. Wait. Determine all the possible zeros. Well, this one says just choose the rational zeros. So determine all the rational zeros, then determine the rational zeros. Finally factor it. Oh, so we just want the rational zero test. Okay. So, well, at least your answer question that you have for here is going to be the, what we call the rational zero test. So that is going to be our P over Q test. Okay. So the rational zeros, and what the rational zero test basically says is if you have a real rational zero, it has to come from one of these numbers. So again, I'll say that one more time because it's very important. If doesn't mean, because not all polynomials have real rational zeros. If you have, it's okay. I can try to zoom in if I want. No, it's not going to let me open it. Maybe, oh, there we go. Right. I can expand it a little bit more. So if you have a real rational zero, it has to come from, oh, that looks horrible. If you have a real rational number, it has to come from this rational zero test. Okay, so that rational zero test is P over Q. Okay, so P represents the constant, and Q represents the coefficient of your leading term. So we make sure this is a leading term, which it is. Okay, all right, so what it actually is plus or minus the factors of P over Q. So it's really important that you recognize this is the factors of P over Q. So let's go ahead and write out, let me get this out of the way here for a second. All right, let's go ahead and write out the factors of P. So I have plus or minus. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put parentheses because I don't want to write each and every one of these plus or minus, right? I just want to put it's plus or minus for everything. So let's write out the factors of P, which is going to be 50. So that's going to be a 50 divided by 2, which would be a 25. Divide by, let's say a 5, which would be a 10, right? And then you have a 1. I think that was going to be all the factors. And then let's do the factors of Q, right? Which is, so it's going to be P over Q. And so Q is going to be a 10, 5, 2, and 1. Okay, so now what we need to do is find all the possible combinations. So it's going to be 50 over 10, 50 over 5, 50 over 2, 25 over 5, 25 over 10, 25 over 5, 25 over 2, 25 over 1, 10 over 10, 10 over 5, 10 over 2, 10 over 1, 5 over 10, 5 over 5, 5 over 2, 5 over 1. You can see why there's so many answers going on here, right? Now, if you just had to find, if it was a free response question, then obviously I'd write all those out. But I don't want to do that. Oh, 2 goes in there. I'm an idiot. Did anybody call me out on it yet? No, not yet. Oh, at least I didn't see. No, I didn't see anybody there. Oh, I forgot 2. Right? And then 1. Okay. Now I got all that. Because 2 goes into 50 25 times, right? 5, 10. So 51, 25, 2. There we go. Okay. So now what I want to do is just make sure I have all of these done. So 2 over 10 is going to be 2/5, or it's going to be a 1/5. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to connect these, which one. So let's go ahead and work out. This one's definitely not the answer, right? Because that doesn't have like any of them. The difference here is this doesn't have plus or minus 50, right? See how this one does and this one does not? Well, I guess 50 over 0, 50 over 1 is a rational 0, right? So that one doesn't work. Now this one looks like the same, but this one doesn't have any plus or minuses. So remember, it's always plus or minus. So therefore your answer is B. It's okay, Justin. Thank you so much. And it was good to have you on, Justin. Good to see you again. All right. Solve each angle that makes the given equation true. So that's just a nice, funny way. That's just a nice way of saying find all the solutions. All right. So the easiest way when you want to find using the reciprocal function would just be say, well, if secant of theta is square root of 2, then that means the cosine of theta equals 1 over square root of 2, right? So now you say, oh, well, I can just rationalize the denominator here. So therefore, the cosine of theta equals a square root of 2 over 2. And you say, oh, when is this equal to that? When is cosine of theta equal to a square root of 2 over 2? You say, well, that's going to be equal here and here, because that is square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. And then here is square root of 2 over 2, comma, negative square root of 2 over 2. Now we just got to know what those angles are. Well, this angle is pi over 4. And then this one's going to be pi over 4 all the way around. So that's going to be 8 pi over 4. So then that would be 7 pi over 4, right? So then you say, well, what are all the solutions? Those are solutions on the unit circle, right? Well, there's no real like easy relationship between these two. So what you can basically do is you can basically just add 2 pi to them, because add 2 pi is going to take you all the way around the circle back to the same solution. So what I would say is theta equals a pi over 4 plus a 2 pi n. And n represents any number. So you can go in the positive direction or in the negative direction. And then my other solution is theta equals a 7 pi over 4 plus 2 pi n. All right, the next one is kind of the exact same thing, but just remember that tangent of theta equals a y over x. Now it's negative. Now that's important for something to be negative, because when your y over x is negative, that means it has to be an angle in the second or in the third quadrant, right? Because everything's positive in the first quadrant and everything's negative in the third quadrant. So it has to be in these two quadrants. Now we got to see, well, which y coordinate over x coordinate is going to produce that? So here's the cool thing. Actually, let me do it here. Okay, so we're looking in this quadrant or this quadrant. There's only 2 other angles that we are aware of that are going to give us this value, right? We have square root of 3 over 2, comma 1/2. Then we have this angle right here, which is 1/2, comma square root of 3 over 2. So you look at this and say, well, which one of these, when I take my y coordinate over my x coordinate, is going to give me a square root of 3 over 3? Forget about the negative for a second. Well, it looks like it's going to be this one. And let's just double check my work. So if I had a 1/2 divided by a square root of 3 over 2, right? Well, the 2's are going to divide out, right? You can just multiply by 2 on the top and bottom. So then I get 1 over square root of 3, rationalize the denominator. and I get a square root of 3 over 3. However, that is positive, right? So my angle, remember, has to be in this quadrant and this quadrant. So therefore, my angle is going to be here and here. Now, the cool thing I want you to recognize here is that these two angles are half the circle around from each other, right? So all I need to do is figure out what this one angle is, and then I can just add pi to it. I don't need to add 2 pi, because if I add pi, it's going to take me here. If I add pi, it's going to take me back here. So you can keep on adding or subtracting pi infinitely many times to get that solution. So now I just need to figure out, well, what is this angle? Well, what is this angle? This angle is pi over 6. This angle, then, this has the same what we call reference angle here of that, which is also pi over 6. So it's pi over 6 away from pi. So if I broke this up into 6 equal parts, this would be a 5 pi over 6. So my answer here is theta equals a 5 pi over 6 plus a pi n. And again, I just need to, if I add pi, it takes me to here. If I add pi again, it takes me there. All right, so we got 10 more minutes. Let's see if I have any more questions. And again, for any of you guys that have just joined on, go ahead and check out the challenge. It's 30 math problems in 30 days. For whatever class you're taking, I will send them to you, and then I'll give you the answer the next following day. That's basically a challenge. It's free from on there. Yes, the third quadrant is in the bottom left. Oh, that's the fourth quadrant. Yeah, I wrote that wrong. Thank you, Justin. Fourth quadrant. Hey, Steven. I'm doing good. Pretty tired. Need to go back to bed. Not back to bed. I didn't go to sleep today. I've been waking up early, though. I got back on my rhythm and routine. So I've been waking up early for that. All right, let's see. And just remember, guys, if you did not already go to last week's live stream and you go ahead and type in hashtag math help, then feel free. You guys can go ahead and do that, and I'll enter in to get some free tutoring. So I'm going to do that at 10 o'clock tonight. We'll do that. I think anything, guys, John, on your question about abstract algebra and topology, I mean, I think it's best to talk with your guidance counselor and your professors on determining what's going to be the best solution for you. I don't feel I'm like in the position to give you your advice that I'd want you to follow for on that. Let's see. I'm going to send a question. And again, guys, a lot of times when I'm looking at these, I'm just trying to see inverse functions. I don't know why you're using inverse functions on that, but Oh, okay, yeah. You can use inverse function. I see what okay. Aim says, how long should the question say? I mean, it really depends. Like I said, guys, I don't know everybody's skill level. So I will say I try to do like a mix of like some very easy problems that you can probably just look at and be like, that's the answer. To some like moderate ones where you should, if you're taking those courses, you should be able to like maybe just write them down on a sheet of paper and just like calculate it rather quickly. And then maybe like, I'd probably say if you're going to probably think about it in terms of like ratios, and for the general audience, right? For probably 75% of the people, that's what like my goal would be, that you would have maybe, 8 problems are going to be really easy. 8 problems would be not really easy, but 8 problems would be easy. 8 problems would be hard. And then what we got 16. So then 14 problems would be, kind of medium level. And that's gonna be for 70%, right? So if you maybe are much more advanced than that, then you might have a little bit different experience than somebody that maybe is really struggling with, a course from on there. But I mean, that's just my best I can go from on there. I definitely had some people that were like, this was perfect, exactly what I needed, like exactly on my skill level. And there was other people like, this was way too easy. It's like, I'm never going to satisfy everybody, for the course. And again, like not everybody learns everything up to that point, right? We're still in the middle of the year for a lot of students. So they might not have time. They might have not had time to, their courses might not have covered certain concepts. All right. I got you on that. I've had questions with square roots. I don't know exactly how to simplify them. I have a lot of videos on that, but I don't really know what else to say for you on the live stream, unless you have a question or you want me to address something specifically on simplifying square roots. I'm happy to do that. Yes, I'd have to go back and look as far as the stats, but yeah, exactly. When you're dealing with the deck of cards are independent, dependent events, independent are not going to be dependent, or, obviously not going to be dependent on the outcome over the previous outcome from there. Okay. All right. So let's go and knock out this one last question, and then we will do the, let's go and knock out this one last question, and then we'll go to last week's live stream and we'll do a winner for some tutoring. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? I've been doing this is week 112. Week 112. Crazy. How does the log base formula? You mean you just basically take the, like, if I had the log base 7 of 43, then you just take the log base 10 of 43 over the log base 10 of 7, or log base ln of 43 divided by ln of 7 from on there. But if you're looking for the inner workings of why does that work, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different to explanation to go through. Oh, well, that's awesome. February break. Cool. That's interesting to kind of know. All right, so let's go into, let's knock out this question, and then we'll do a little giveaway. I love giveaways. All right, and what do I get into? Okay. All right. So on this problem, now we have a different restriction. So in this problem, never mind. I'm an idiot. I didn't read the question. So solve the question that gives each equation true on the interval. Why didn't I say solve? I totally read that wrong. I wonder if somebody said anything in the chat. So those are all wrong. They're not wrong, but those are all the intervals. They're not restricted, right? So the only two answers that make sense here is going to be, why did I erase that though? It's kind of stupid. Pi over 4 and theta equals a 7 pi over 4. So here I have 5 pi over 6 is one answer, and the other pi over 6 is going to be over 12 pi, which would be 11 pi over 6. So my other answer on the interval would be 11 pi over 6. Okay. Now this one is they only want you to find answers that are from here to here. So here's negative pi halves, and here's pi halves. Okay, so how do we solve this? Well, we have two trigonometric functions. Typically, when we have two trigonometric functions, we want to either combine them, so we have one, right, using inverse operations, or we want to set them as a product equal to 0, so therefore we can use zero product property. And in this case, the only thing I recognize is this is a quadratic, right, and that's a linear term. So I can think of let's see if we can factor this. Now, just remember, guys, this can also be written as sine squared minus a 2 sine of x plus 1 equals 0. Right? And then if you really want to, you could kind of replace this as an x squared minus a 2x plus 1 equals 0. And now you say, oh, how do I factor this? How did I do this? Well, again, this can be written as x minus 1 times x minus 1, right? Which is really just an x minus 1 quantity squared equals 0. So in this case, you can kind of do the exact same thing. Like just think about so if you let, right, x equal a sine of x, right? That's all I really did. I just replaced sine of x with x. Then you can go backwards, right? So now I can say that's really a sine of x minus 1 quantity squared equals 0. That is the simplified form of that. So now take the square root of both sides. Sine of x minus 1 is equal to 0. Add a 1, add a 1. Sine of x is equal to 1. Now we got to determine, well, when is sine of x equal to 1? And you can see at this point, my sine represents the y-coordinate, which is up there. Now that angle, remember, it's less than or equal to, and then you can see that's pi halves. So x is going to be equal to pi halves. And that is going to be my only solution. All right, guys, that is perfect timing. Look at that. I am like absolutely amazed. That was absolutely perfect timing. So now it is time for us to get into an installment of a giveaway. So just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already, last week was awesome. Last week we only had 4 people that did this, so you have pretty good odds if you're interested. I know not everybody wants tutoring, so that's cool. I like double did it, but what the heck? Oh, I did it myself. No wonder nobody's gonna show up. See if this, better double check to make sure this works then. Last week's live stream. Please get, okay. Yep, there we go. Cool. All right. I think that's it. I hope so yet. Okay. I still got, you stop that. I could be able to get this. Let me go and get to the right tab. See if I can, if it pulls it up. That's so annoying. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? So we're going to take last week's live stream, which is right here. Okay. I also posted it in the chat. Good night, Brandon. And then we're going to go ahead and for chats. And then again, all you got to do is from that last chat, which I think I did it right, we are going to go to a keyword filter. And again, I am only going to pick people that typed in math help. All right. So again, that's last week's live stream. You even have time. You might be able to go really, really fast, go back to it and go ahead and check in and type it in. And then I just know most people are smarter because thank you. Why? Go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. But I will say after this, I will not be answering questions. So you can go to Discord and go ahead and ask questions there because the Discord is awesome. Thank you, Mo. To go ahead and check it out. So there's the Discord. Go ahead and check it out. It's also in the description and a pinned chat. So go and check it out there if you have any more questions, because sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to more. Let's go and get this. Who is going to get some tutoring? Wow, 4 comments. Look at the odds. You have a 25% chance of winning. You guys, that's amazing. All right, and our winner is Parthiv. Good, congratulations. You are the winner. All you got to do is reach out to me on Discord or go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram, and I will get you hooked up with the free tutoring. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys have a great week. For those of you who are on February break, hope you have a great February break, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, cheers.